Hey everybody, Mike here with another Transformers 1 video leading up to the release of the movie this September. And what's interesting about Transformers 1 is that the more and more that comes out about this movie, whether it be a trailer or just information about the film, I've noticed that this movie has quite a bit of inspiration from Transformers Prime. Now, I personally think that Transformers Prime is the best Transformers TV show out there. I absolutely adore that show, and it's very interesting and cool to see that seems to be a lot of inspiration taken from Transformers Prime and placed into Transformers 1. But if you haven't noticed, it seems like Transformers 1 is going to be very similar in story to the aligned continuity. And the aligned continuity was what Transformers Prime was a part of, which I talked about in a previous video about Megatron and D16 and where that name came from. But the aligned continuity consisted of some books and some comics and Transformers Prime and the Transformers War for Cybertron video game series. And what's also interesting to note is that director Josh Cooley, the director of Transformers 1, said that he was given the quote-unquote binder of revelation before starting work on this movie. If you don't know, the Binder of Revelation is this giant Transformers Bible that Hasbro put together that details a bunch of plot elements and character elements that fit into the Transformers aligned universe. And you can tell that he used it because there are a lot of elements from that and from Transformers Prime that seems to be carrying over into Transformers 1. Probably the biggest thing to note is that in this aligned continuity, Megatron was of course D16, and Optimus was Orion Pax. Now, Optimus being Orion Pax is pretty common throughout Transformers media, but Megatron being D16 less so, and that's almost very specific to the aligned continuity. It's very rarely that he's been called D16 otherwise. But that's where the similarities are just base level there. From here on out, there are some very notable similarities between Transformers Prime and Transformers 1. And I think, first of all, I have to start out with the Vehicons. The Vehicons were a big part of Transformers Prime. They were the Decepticon forces that were just nameless characters, unless you called them Steve, as what most of the Transformers fandom did. But the Vehicons were just Megatron's henchmen who were super disposable. Drones like this that are disposable are not uncommon in Transformers. However, the designs between the Vehicons in Transformers Prime compared to the designs in Transformers 1 is insanely similar. I really can't believe how similar these designs are, and I think it's really cool that they brought those designs practically one-to-one over to this theatrical movie, because I always thought the Vehicons were really cool. They had really cool, sleek designs, and it looks like they even act similar to the Vehicons in Transformers Prime. You'll especially notice in the scene where the Transformers Optimus's crew they are falling down this hill, and the Vehicons sort of look over in a very similar fashion to how they would do it in Transformers Prime. It's uncanny. And then, of course, speaking of designs, we definitely have to talk about Airachnid. Now, Airachnid was unique to Transformers Prime at the time, and the design that we see in Transformers 1 almost exactly mirrors how she appeared in Prime, to the point where it really threw me when I was watching the trailer. I was not expecting her appearance at all, and then even the brief half a second, maybe even less, that she was on screen, I instantly knew who she was because she looks so similar to the Transformers Prime version. Again, like the Vehicons, almost a one-to-one reincarnation of that character. It is very crazy to see that happen because as someone who loved Transformers Prime so much, it's just kind of cool to see elements of that show carried over into a movie, and when you would think that wouldn't happen, and it's just really neat. And now, to a lesser extent, we also have T-Cogs. Now, T-Cogs are not unique to Transformers Prime. They have existed before and they have existed after. However, it is notable that T-Cogs were a pretty large part of Transformers Prime's story, and especially a couple of specific episodes where T-Cogs were the main focus. So seeing that T-Cogs are a focus in the trailer and how that's applied to the movie, also considering that the Binder of Revelation and the Align continuity is being used as inspiration, it just shows this more inspiration with Transformers Prime to Transformers 1. And then probably one of the coolest similarities between Transformers Prime and Transformers 1 is the fact that Brian Tyler is going to be composing Transformers 1. And I say going to be when he probably already has completed it. I believe Transformers 1 is finished at this point, to my recollection. But Brian Tyler did the music for Transformers 1. And of course, Brian Tyler is the one who did all of the music for Transformers Prime, including the very iconic opening theme. So I feel like it'd be super cool if we got a little hint of that Transformers Prime theme in Transformers 1. I do remember with Transformers Age of Extinction, with the Autobots reunite scene, even Steve Jablonsky used maybe like a little sample of Brian Tyler's Transformers Prime theme in that piece of music, and it's something I caught on almost immediately. I don't know if it was quite intentional, but it was definitely there. So if Brian Tyler kind of sneaks any Transformers Prime themes into Transformers 1, I'm going to absolutely lose it. Like I said, Transformers Prime is just such a huge part of Transformers for me. I, of course, got into Transformers from the movies, but seeing now these elements of Transformers Prime, which I also grew up with, it's just very cool to see those elements taken over in a new light in a different part of Transformers media. So, Transformers Prime fans, we may be in for some more references when Transformers 1 comes out. I can't wait to see it and see all of the Easter eggs that are going to be in this movie, because I feel like there's going to be a lot. So, did you notice these references to Transformers Prime from what we've seen so far? And are you excited to see those references and inspiration in Transformers 1? Let me know in the comment section down below. And until next time, I'm Mike. See you guys.